minimizing charisma, maximizing intelligence, shooting someone in the crotch with a cannonball, thrust, propulsion. It's science-y.
Why you always gotta be blowing my spot up like that? There are my runes. There they are. I'm not mad. Science needs art and art needs science. They both need each other to function properly.
There are ways to figure out what the paper is really saying.
And then I'm ready to get on Twitter and yell at people about doing their own research on...
Oh, hold on there, sports fan.
Kyle Hill, everybody! He's the next generation of science communicator. I'm gonna be too old at a certain point to do those terrible things to my body, and it'll be up to you.
He's got like a lion's mane. This guy's amazing. Kyle Hill.
I'm Boo Ramble.
The universe is indifferent to you. Whether or not you have amazing hair, the universe doesn't care.
How are trees pushing past this pressure limit?
Chat! I'm not gonna do that again. Chat, welcome. Chat, welcome. Happy to have everybody here. Sen, Rudy, Tactical, Mr. Eileen, Kenny Breen, as usual, Liz, Under the Sea, Jay, Alan, Mercenary, Nuke, 333X, Blank, Raider Battle Angel 13, get in here! Get in here! If I had a choice between $5 million or meeting Kyle, I would choose meeting Kyle. That would be a mistake. Because you could turn that $5 million into meeting me. Wah98, welcome, welcome. Chat, today we return. Actually, chat, I believe this will be the final. Tyler Duncan, Thomas, get in here. A viral goopda. Chrissy. Hello. You're watching on two phones? Blank and Mister are the same person? Number one chatter? Holy shit. Yeah! Chat, welcome. I think today will actually be the last Fallout stream for a little while, because today we are going into Fallout 4 to find the most Fallout-related, nuclear-related, radioactive location in all of the games. I believe it exists in Fallout 4. It's not what you think it is, because I know you're going to say something, but that's not true. Eileen, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you and your hubby. Always my favorite couple on YouTube. Thank you for being here, of course. I think this is the last Fallout-related stream for a while, because this will conclude the most radioactive locations in the Fallout universe. Got you on my second monitor. Hell yeah. No, it's not the glowing sea. Awesome. It's not the glowing sea. It's actually a different place, which we'll be checking out. And then, I don't know, you tell me. And then, the Kevins are working on some installations for some Metal Gear Solid streams. So I think we'll start doing some Metal Gear Solid streams with the remake of number 3 coming out. And we have a Metal Gear Solid related video coming out as well near the end of the month or the first week of next month or whenever I can get it out, that has an interview with a nuclear weapons historian. I interviewed him for a full hour, and we're turning that into an... Basically, I was trying to ask the nuclear weapons historian, does anything in Metal Gear Solid make sense? And the answer might surprise you. It surprised me. And before I forget... Of course. A horse. Of course. A horse. Before I forget, chat. Bring it in. Chat, before I forget, this stream, just like every stream, Every gaming stream is brought to you by Basilisk, the only esports organization that wants to create more scientists, promote STEM and science-related fields through playing the hardest games. We just won the StarCraft 2 World Championship a couple weeks ago. So check out basilisk.gg. Yes, it's named Basilisk. Can you even imagine it? This isn't where I wanted to be, in the facility. Fix the turbo lifts! Don't give me no lip. Also, if you want to get videos early, like the video that went up today about Mirror Life on the main channel, I'm so fidgety. It's because my skin is extremely sensitive. That's why I'm always touching myself. Like, not like that. You can go to patreon.com/Kyle Hill to join the facility and get even more perks like our private Discord and videos early, like I just said, but even more importantly, you can get something new. Now, Chad, I don't want to freak you out, but we launched a brand new Patreon exclusive show. It is the return of Office Hours. And only some of the videos will go live on YouTube as a way to entice people into the facility, right? But most of the videos will be exclusive on Patreon. They feature none other than my ward of the state, ADEF, and we will only be taking patron questions. So if you join the Patreon, you'll be able to ask questions on these posts, and then we will feature you in a brand new exclusive show because I want to interact with the people who interact with me the most, which is you.
Number the amount of ways you can shuffle a deck of cards, 52 factorial. It's more than the number of atoms in the universe.
That sounds like the description of infinity that I like.
What's that?
You ever heard that? How would you quantify an eternity? And it's something like, once a day, a crow flies by a giant stone obelisk the size of Mount Everest. And every day it comes by that stone obelisk and it scratches it a little bit with its beak, and then it flies away. Once that stone obelisk has been ground down all the way to sea level, one day in eternity has passed.
Bruh.
So, chat, we have a brand new series on Patreon. If you want to have your questions featured, if you want to see those episodes, right now we have 2 of them. The next one will be coming out sometime next week. They're about a half an hour long, but right now they're just on Patreon because I want to get your feedback on all of them. We will change stuff around. We will do things new if we need to. We'll make them longer, make them shorter, whatever. But if you want to check out that brand new part of the facility, I suggest that you do so. So happy to have everyone here, there, everywhere. You know what I mean. Sheesh. Chat, I've mentioned somewhere else that I've been feeling stupid lately. And because I've been feeling stupid lately, I recently decided to read some sort of book every day, at least an hour a day. So I just finished, just this morning, a 301-page textbook about radiation physics. Radiation and health physics. And right now, I feel like... Now, I know this isn't true. But having gone for so long without reading consistently, I feel like I know everything about radiation right now. I know that I don't, but I'm just saying. So going into playing Fallout today, if you have any radiation-related questions, I feel like I could teach an introductory course on it. Like from the first discovery of radiation to what it does to your bodies, to where it's used, to the components of it. I don't know like all the math of it, of course, but basically I have my hand around it, and I have a nice tight, but not too tight, grasp around it. Which book isn't any good? It is a technical. It's a technical book. It's not like a popular book you could buy off Amazon. I'll have to check the name of it, which I can do right now. Radiation and Health by a biophysics group. A biophysics group in Norway. 5 authors, a biophysics group in Norway. It's 301 pages, and I just finished it, and I feel like I know everything. So is Radaway really a thing? Depends on what you're talking about. Hell yeah, Spice. Science time. If you're talking about... So Radaway decorporates radioactive material in the body. As you know, there's only one way for you to be... There's 2 ways for you to become, so to speak, become radioactive. That is, either you have radioactive material on you or in you, or you get activated by neutrons. Neutrons bumping into the nuclei of some of the atoms and molecules in your body and then making them unstable and therefore making them radioactive. Those are the 2 ways that you can become radioactive. So if you want to remove radioactive contamination from your body, you'd either have to wait for the biological half-life of the activated products, or you would have to decorporate and wait. You could insert materials in your body to decorporate that material from your body. You can wash your body in certain chemicals. You can remove your clothes. And what you're talking about is Radaway. Radaway goes into your body and, science time, finds and removes radioactive materials chemically. So there's only currently two, count them, 2 FDA-approved chemicals that do this. One of them is the first artificial pigment ever discovered by man, and that is Prussian blue. When there was a radiation accident, science time, in Goiânia, Brazil, claro que sí. Goiânia, Brazil, they gave people some supplements with Prussian blue, which would find radioactive cesium, the isotope 137, and attach to it and then decorporate it from you before it got absorbed in your gut. And so that is kind of the closest thing that you have to a Radaway. I told you I know so much right now. Holy crap. I know so much about radiation right now. It's crazy. And I asked one of my experts in the patreon.com/Kyle Hill Discord. And they say I know a little bit, like I'm somewhere between nuclear engineer and nuclear operator, my knowledge level at the moment. Are Prussian blue and methylene blue different? Says first time chatter over on Twitch. I don't know. Kyle, what did you think of Alien Earth? I'm actually working with Alien Earth, and we'll have a short on it out soon. But I don't know. I don't know what the future of humanity is. Kyle, you're scaring the children. No, radiation is cool. It is radiation. You are swimming in a sea of radiation every single day. There's 4 natural sources of radiation that you're exposed to all the time. Speaking of fallout. I think your hair is radiant. You're exposed to cosmic rays from space. You're exposed to natural radioactive elements in the body, like potassium-40. Potassium-40 is everywhere. It's in everything, like literally every organism. You have some of that in the body. So cosmic, these are exogenous, outside the body. Exogenous forms of radiation. Cosmic radiation. Endogenous sources of radiation like potassium-40 in the body. And then you have exposure from uranium 238 and 235 in the ground. And then as that decays into radium and radon, you also have an exogenous exposure to radon gas and the daughter products of radon as well. I know... So chat, of course, you find me here in the gaming wing of the facility. Today, our goal is to find the final and highest radiation area in all the Fallout series. I I believe it is in Fallout 4, and we are here to find it. So what I'm going to do today is find it with you. We're going to explain it, put it in context, and we'll eventually put it in a video. And if we finish early, then I don't know what I'm going to do. Speaking of finishing early, I have these two monitors to see what you're saying and what... Whoa, no. Playing on two 27-inch curved quantum dot monitors in front of me. Why quantum, Kyle? Because they can compute more than one thing at once. Radon is pretty neat. You know, radium is the second. Radon comes from the decay of radium, which comes from the decay of uranium, 235 and 238. And radium was actually the second radioactive element ever discovered. It is named for it that radiates, and it was named by Marie Curie. Of course, the first radioactive element discovered was polonium. These were both isolated from ore, like uranium-laden ore, and polonium, of course, from her home country of Poland. But that was actually after the discovery of X-rays by William Röntgen. I know so much right now, it's crazy. Mass fusion main reactor, or the nucleus? Yes, it is one of those two. It is. We're not going to do a full playthrough. Hell yes, we're not starting from the beginning. I already have a file that has like 72 hours on it, and we're going to go to the location. Is plutonium naturally occurring, or is it artificial? There's no naturally occurring plutonium, as far as I know. It is all created by the neutron bombardment in nuclear reactors and research reactors of uranium-238. I'm pretty sure that's correct. I know so much right now. Someone double-check me, but I don't think... I don't think there's any naturally occurring plutonium. It needs to be through neutron bombardment created from uranium-238 through beta decay. So a neutron becomes a proton and an electron, which bumps up the atomic number by 1 to make it plutonium-239. Whoa! Read the Radium Girls, and it was terrifying. See, actually... No, Chompy, I already did a video tangentially on the Radium Girls. The video is called The Radium Worked Until His Jaw Fell Off. Now, something else, Science Time, that I learned from reading this book, which I didn't point out in my video that was tangentially about the Radium Girls, and I should. Because if we're being accurate, and I talk about risk perception all the time and the actual numbers of things... Yeah, no, I know, Chompy. I know the Radium Girls are scary. And guys, the Radium Girls is a tragedy because of how many women were exposed while we knew it was dangerous to expose them in that way. And radium specifically, and we'll encounter it in the game in just a second, Science Time, radium specifically, I know so much, is a bone seeker because it's similar to calcium on the periodic table, so it accumulates in your bones. There are trace amounts of plutonium-238, 239, 240, 244 in nature. Yeah, I mean, I believe. I forget. Plutonium-230, Science Time, I know so much. Plutonium-239, uranium-233, and uranium-235 are the only fissile materials, and we have to make them. Or we have to enrich, and whatever, I can't. I can't. I'm gonna get off track. Anyway, so while the tragedy of the Radium Girls is the tragedy of the Radium Girls is an industry safety standard tragedy. It's not really a nuclear tragedy. By which I mean there were, and now follow me here, because we need to talk about these things accurately. We need to be accurate in our risk perceptions. Okay, our perceptions of risk. It's very important. So while the tragedy of the Radium Girls is an industry safety standards tragedy, it's not a radiation-based tragedy. Now, when I say that, what I mean is God, these summaries are all totally useless. The AI on this specifically is really, really bad. By which I mean, when we talk about the Radium Girls, you would assume that a huge fraction of them died, right? When we talk about this as a disaster or a tragedy or what befell these poor young women, you probably get the impression that, like, the majority of them got cancer from what they did. At least that's the impression that I get when I see popular retellings of this story. It's like, oh, wow, okay, so here we are. So all of these girls, like, basically all of them got cancer and died horribly. That's the impression that you get, but that is incorrect. That is not an accurate representation of how many women were actually affected. So I'm just highlighting some numbers here, but from a population of 2,383 cases for whom reliable body content measurements have been done, all the 64 bone sarcoma cases occurred in the 264 cases with more than 10 grays, while no sarcomas appeared in the 2,119 radium cases with less than 10 grays. Now, why this is important for our risk perception is this. The vast majority of exposed individuals went through life with no recognizable consequences of their exposures. They lived as long as, and apparently as in good health as, their unexposed neighbors. This fact seems to have been little appreciated and seldom mentioned, but it may be the most important finding of the entire study. No leukemias, no breast cancer, no lung cancer, in spite of rather large doses given at a low dose rate. Now, Chet, are you understanding the line I'm trying to toe here? If we are to be accurate in our perception of radiation risk, it's easy to focus on the horrible pictures of health effects and very scary retellings of things like I do in the Half-Life histories, but that is it's a relatively scary thing in that context. Absolutely speaking, 64 bone sarcomas and 32 head sarcomas. Okay. I'm starting to do stuff on here like pirate software, except I'm not problematic and a liar. So what was that? That was 64 plus 32 divided by the total case, the total number of cases, 2383. Don't look at that. 2383. And then if we multiply that fraction times 100, we will get the percentage. We will get the percentage. So again, this is my whole point. We talk about the Radium Girls specifically because what happened to a number of them was terrible. But absolutely speaking, was it a radiation-based disaster? Yes, the radiation ended up giving about 100 cancers that wouldn't have otherwise happened. But there was 2,000 women exposed that we studied, and the percentage of them... Oops, I did that wrong. I did this wrong somehow. How did I... What? the percentage of them that developed some long-term health effect was 4%. Okay? So, now, why didn't it do this correctly? Oh, because I put 2. Why didn't it do this correctly? Multiplied by 100. The order of operations is not good here, but just to show you the number so it looks reasonable here. So when you hear about, you get the impression that we were totally crazy and we gave hundreds, if not thousands, of young women cancer by ingesting radium. But the actual number of women affected was 4% of the total, which is to say 96% of the women in these cases did not develop any radiation-induced health effects. Now, again, we're towing a line here. What happened to about 100 young women because of horrible industry safety standards, people lying to them, withholding information from them, that was horrible, and it led to a lot of workplace safety reforms. But in an absolute context, 96% of the women did not go on to form any radiation-induced long-term health effects. So, not to diminish what happened to the 4%, but to give an accurate picture of just how much they were affected by radiation. And in walking this line, we have a better idea of the health effects of radiation. Right? I would never say any radiation-based accident is like, totally fine and I don't care about the people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we need to put it in proper context to fully understand it so that we don't have a radiophobia that prevents us from building more nuclear power plants, using radiation and ionizing radiation-based therapies for cancer, etc., etc. Okay, I didn't expect to go into all that right now, but you guys brought it up. Yeah. Does that all make sense, chat? 4% is still 4% too much? Fair. That's fair. It's fair. And that's why it was bad. Of course, even one person dying from workplace mismanagement of safety standards, that's bad. Of course. But I'm trying to put into context the actual long-term health effects for the vast majority of people. And that will calibrate your perception of how dangerous radiation is or not, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. MP! One moment. Josh, thank you for the 10. I said if I wanted to add a radiation detector to an EDC product I wanted to design, but it's been a while. What resources should I recommend getting up to speed? Jared, thank you, Josh. Jared Mulconry. I always get that wrong. Thank you for the 10. Has a good response to you. MP with the €100 donation, so it's even better. Kyle radiates my day and makes my Geiger counter beat fast or something. I don't know anything. Have a fun stream, everyone. MP, thank you for the $100. That's huge. Don't look at that. The first super mutant I smash is just for you, MP. Thank you. That's far too much. You should use that on groceries or something. Do you have any radium painted items in your collection? No, I don't. How did you highlight that message on Twitch like that? I don't even know how you did that. What makes it a real tragedy is the whole thing could have been avoided. Yes. Okay, it's having some trouble. Welcome to A Scientist Plays Fallout 4. Isn't that pounds? I don't know. If you say so. It's having a lot of trouble with something. There we go. All right, chat. Let me know. I increased the volume of my voice because it was low in the playback that I've been checking out. So let me know how the volume is. Thank you again for the 100 pounds, MP. I appreciate it. Hey, Kyle, I watch the news for a living. And on one of the Fox channels, they were showing off radiotherapy of TerraPower. Yes. My first reaction was Kyle Hill showed me that months ago. Hell yeah. Would you like some Fiestaware? I have some Fiestaware, actually. Let me know if all the... everything's good here. In terms of volumes. Oh, God. Level 64. This character I'm playing on is absolutely dominant. But Chet, no one actually answered me. Do you understand the line that I was trying to walk there while I fear that the story of the Radium Girls also makes people really terrified of radiation in a way that the proper context would soften that perception a little bit. And no one, I haven't heard anyone talk about that context ever. That's all I'm saying. Right? It is usually always presented in that, look at this terrible thing we did, and all of them died. But that is almost completely the opposite of what happened. You know what I mean? So I just want that to be clear. Wait, how do I show my character? Look at me. Look at me. I'm a Chad. Of course, I'm also using a radioactive weapon right now. The radioactive weapon is a radical conversion, which is a radium rifle. Radiation is still dangerous, though, right? Depends. Like I said, Liquid Flames, you are surrounded by radiation every moment of every day. You have cosmic radiation going through you right now. And so what I try to do as an educator is give you the proper context for these things. So when you say radiation is still dangerous, I want you to be able to say, well, it depends what kind of radiation it is, how long I'm exposed to that radiation, what kind of health effects am I expecting or am I talking about. Those are all... I can't answer your question without addressing all of those. So when you say radiation is still dangerous, though, right? Well, not necessarily. Cosmic radiation from space every year while you're on the ground? No, it's not dangerous. Life literally evolved under a constant pressure from cosmic radiation. Do you see, is radiation dangerous? Well, yes, if you took 1 gram of radium, which is what the unit the Curie is based on. I know too much. If you take 1 gram of radium and ingest it, that would be extremely bad. So, you see what I'm getting at? Because radium is a alpha and a beta emitter. No, it's a gamma and a beta emitter, I think, right? So beta radiation being the second most penetrating, it is beta radiation, I know too much, is an electron. And beta radiation won't go further than, what is it? Like a couple... Beta radiation won't go through all the way through your body. I forget the exact linear energy transfer number for it. But if you eat a beta emitter, it will stay in your body, and all of the radiation's energy will be deposited in your body. Isn't it in fire alarms? Depends. Americium is what you're talking about.
MP super chatted $135.60. Do you know of any animals immune to high radiation, Kyle?
MP again. Thank you, MP. You are crazy. You are crazy, my good person. This next science time is just for you. Right after actually, these next 2 science times are just for you, MP. Nothing good on TV. Isn't radiation and fire alarms. Guys, I know too much. We have to get to the game. Science time. Radiation and fire alarms is actually a small amount of americium. Americium, or Americum, if you want to be weird about it, like I do. is an alpha emitter. Alpha radiation can't penetrate very far into material. It will be stopped by just the dead skin on top of your skin. It won't go a millimeter into you. But it also has the highest LET, so it transfers a lot of energy in just that short space. So alpha radiation can be dangerous if you ingest it. But americium on the outside of you, that is an alpha emitter, isn't dangerous because it doesn't even go through the dead skin cells. It doesn't even go through like 1 or 2 cell lengths worth of tissue. So alpha emitters on the outside of your body, like americium, not a danger to you in the wall, in your fire detector. But Kyle, why are they in fire detectors? Smoke detectors, smoke alarms. Because what it does is the americium is releasing some alpha radiation, which are helium nuclei. I know too much. And as it does so, a detector is detecting it through a little chamber, through a little air chamber. And as long as that is happening, the alarm doesn't go off. But if some smoke gets in there, and the smoke literally, because of the low penetration, the smoke will stop those alpha particles from getting to the detector. And once the detector stops detecting, that is when the smoke alarm goes off. So that is why smoke alarms, fire alarms, have a small amount of radioactive material. Now, why use radioactive material? Because it decays by itself forever, depending on the half-life, without any moving parts or electricity. Kyle, do you know any animals immune to high radiation? Says MP with the 100. Science time. So famously, you are probably aware of some animals that are very radio resistant. Most of you have probably heard of tardigrades or moss piglets or water bears, and they seem to be extremely radio resistant. And we've also discovered proteins in their body called DSUP, or damage suppression proteins, I know too much, that make them highly resistant to X-ray radiation in particular. Where is the nucleus? But it's not immune to radiation. But it seems like, so if you want to know a general kind of immunity to radiation kind of thing, I know too much, science time, it's the more simple an organism gets, the more radio resistant it is, because it has less cells to irradiate, which means less DNA to damage, which means less likely of deleterious radiation-induced effects. Wait, isn't the nucleus in Far Harbor? No. Wait, isn't it? Yes. So things with a bunch of cells, like you, are less radio resistant than things like bacteria, which are just single cells, which if you, I know too much science stuff, if you will die after a exposure to radiation totaling 10 grays, bacteria can survive exposure to tens of thousands of grays, or between 1 and 10,000 grays. So what is that? 100 times more radio resistant than you? Could use a wall of water bears as a barrier, yes, but at that point, that is just water. And water is good at blocking neutrons. Oh, okay. I have a correction. Not 100% true about fire alarms. The batteries will still die, yes. The reason they used radiation was at the time they did not have light-sensitive sensors like in modern alarms. Okay, demigod. Thank you. But they are still used because they detect different kinds and levels of smoke. Interesting. Thank you. You taught me something. See, I didn't know the actual engineering reason. I just knew the radiation part. Americium in smoke detectors is still a thing. It's a good way of detecting the presence of fine ash particles in the air that you might not otherwise detect. Interesting. I'm pretty sure that microwaves do emit harmful radiation within the chamber. That microwave radiation is non-ionizing. So while being inside of a microwave will be bad, it is not because... Oh, Curie's back! Hell yeah. My love, I'm sinking. My love. My love. My love, I'm sinking. How did I... How did I... Yeah. 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 Ephemeral eel, you're welcome about the video today. I'm stuck in... I'm stuck. Thanks, Todd Howard. Curie, my love, help me. Nucleus is over here. Nope. It's over here, the radiation symbol. Ephemeral eel, I appreciate it. Yeah, so microwave radiation is non-ionizing. So it does not have the energy to remove electrons from atoms and create free radicals and oxygen ions and other stuff that can damage your cells, etc., etc. But it is still bad. You wouldn't want to be inside of a microwave because the water in your body will absorb it and you'll get hot and you will damage yourself. Because they'll get hot and they'll start moving around and it makes food hot. The water in your food absorbs the microwaves, which gain energy, therefore gain temperature, move faster, and that's how a microwave works, basically. But microwave radiation is non-ionizing, so it's not dangerous in the same way as the radiation that we are talking about. It is still radiation, but it's not ionizing, and it's not the kind that we've been talking about so far, which is like nucleonic-based particles, etc., etc. Ooh, hello.
What does Adam need with one little dock anyway?
I need to buy a super cool rifle real quick. Yeah, I answered your question. Would a tardigrade survive being next to the elephant's foot? I don't know. I don't know what the actual dose rate response death limit is for a tardigrade off the top of my head. I know most things apparently now, except for that one thing about smoke alarms that I got wrong almost immediately. It's just some witchcraft going on so that the holes in the front glass sealing it. What you're describing is a Faraday cage. That's more or less what that is. It keeps the radiation inside. Am I right about that? I think I looked that up once. And these don't work. So, Chad, is this the most radioactive location in Fallout and Fallout 4? No, actually, it's not. Even though this whole place is based on radiation. The nucleus!
Perhaps he's taken ill.
Also, worshipping the nuclear reactor in a nuclear submarine is pretty freaking cool. I'm trying to find the guy who sells the kiloton weapon. How many caps do I have? I thought the holes at the front were smaller than the wavelength, so the microwaves can't get out. Oh, is that... Wavelength is larger than the holes. So it's not a... So I got that wrong, too. It's not a Faraday cage in the way that Faraday cages work. I sit corrected.
Is it true?
No.
You made it past the base's guardians.
Sister
Adam does
mine?
watch over
No.
you, doesn't he?
Is it you? No.
Did you hear?
Kate. Wait. Kate, is that you? Okay, so I was wrong. Wait, is that how Faraday cages work? No. That has more to do with...
The veil of Adam will purge.
That has more to do with the charge. Right? Am I crazy? How did you handle Confessor Tectus? I think I buried his body in a wall and replaced him with a synth. Okay, I have 13,000 caps. Look at my weapons. They are absolutely cracked. Oh, this is my favorite, though. This thing does 400 damage. Ooh. Ooh.
Wait. You're the one they're saying saw the mother. Good. Oh,
Yes, now give me your stuff.
you're looking for weapons, ammo,
Yes.
and your gamma rounds.
Yes.
Let's see what you have.
Are you the one with the...
Myself.
Faraday cage blocks electromagnetic radiation. Well, that's what microwaves are. Oh yeah, he has it. Yeah. So automatic radium rifle. See, now I don't know how this makes things radioactive. You know, the little cage at the front is implying that it's inducing some amount of radiation or something in the bullets or something. But if I had a radium rifle, I would just put radium in the bullets. But that makes less sense because if you're trying to kill someone with a gun, the bullets will do that much faster than any amount of radiation will. There it is. Yeah. Bullets explode on impact and they give 100 rad. Yes. I also have all those and all this cracked stuff and the best armor in the game. Death Claw stick. Okay, let's sell some. Wait. Do I have to do that? Yeah, I'm carrying too much. Oh, you may get a... I love you. I don't know why I'm being weird about this. I'm never going to play this file again, probably, so I should just put it down, but I can't. I love min-maxing so much. I love min-maxing. Please. Just put it down. I can't do it. Oh, put the melons down. Yeah, alright. Is this, yeah, this is Fallout 4 with all of the DLC. Wee. I want to go upgrade this thing. Yeah. All right, now Chet, we have to go to the most radioactive location in Fallout 4, and in the entire game, in the entire series, no less. Damn it! Look out below.
It's been a week. Still no word.
Childs. Chat. I forget why I started doing this, but I downloaded Assassin's Creed Valhalla again, and I put 20 hours into it, and I love that game so much. Yeah, Liquid Flames, I get you.
Let his light guide you.
Let his light guide you. See, light is radiation, chat. I mean, light is radiation. The radiation that you usually want to ask me about is like the nucleonic radiation, like alpha particles, beta particles, neutrons. But light is radiation, and everything in the electromagnetic spectrum is technically radiation. Everything from radio waves up through microwaves to infrared, I always forget, infrared to visible light to ultraviolet light to X-ray to gamma rays. That's all radiation as well. What do you think of the world of Blade Runner? I could take it or leave it. Dupless. 26 science times already. Yeah, well, you guys, you nerd sniped me at the beginning. So, Chet, I don't know about the engineering of things, even though I'm an engineer. We've established that I'm not quite sure how microwaves and smoke detectors work, but now I do. That's why you're here. But I'm pretty sure I got all the radiation stuff correct. Came out of the gate hot. Have you played the Metro series? I haven't. Light is gamma rays. Yeah. Gamma rays are light. It's just hot light. I also corrected myself on something, chat. Now, I'm pretty sure. Oh, well, one thing. First of all, I've been technically incorrect when I talk about the different units used to measure radiation, like rads, REMS, Röntgen, sieverts, and grays. I will eventually correct that in a full video about radioactive units. I posted a blog post on Patreon that explains why and how I've gotten those things wrong, especially in this game when talking to you. But something I probably also said at some point is that ultraviolet light is ionizing and it gives you like a radiation burn. Now, that is not technically true. Now, there's UVA, UVB, and UVC light, and that is just talking about the different flavors of UV. From longest to shortest wavelengths, and they just have them in those groups. Now, UVC is ionizing, but all of it is blocked by the atmosphere. What causes sunburn is majority UVB radiation in the middle of that section of the spectrum, and it is not ionizing in the same way that, say, a beta emitter would burn your skin. That is not true. And if I said that, I am incorrect. UVB radiation, you hear people talk about, high UV today, don't go outside or put on sunscreen, whatever. UVB radiation mimics radiation burns and causes sunburn. So, even though it does not have the energy to ionize atoms and molecules, what it does have is the energy to excite those atoms and molecules enough to create free radicals and oxygen species and things like that that mimic the damage from ionizing radiation. So while ultraviolet light that makes it to the ground can burn you like a radiation burn, I mean, I guess it's technically a radiation because it's non-ionizing, so it's not like the other stuff we've been talking about so far. It mimics ionizing radiation in the way that it interacts with your skin. And it creates photochemical reactions that mimic ionizing effects, or effects of ionizing radiation. So it's not, if I said that, technically incorrect. To the most radioactive location. It is right here, chat. Which is unfortunate because well, I guess it's not fortunate, but I think sunburn and getting sunburn and thinking about the sun and staying out of the sun, etc., is the single best way to understand ionizing radiation and how to protect yourself from it. Chemical sun blockers versus mineral sun blockers, what do you prefer? I don't know. I don't really think about it. Kyle, do you think Pip-Boys could ever be a real device? You mean this? You mean the most powerful device that in human history that everyone has in their pocket now? Yeah, I think it's possible. It's always good to see you honestly admit your own information mistakes. Another way that I am different from pirate software, apparently. But yeah, no... if I'm being totally honest, it's less because it's embarrassing to myself when I have thought something or said something that is wrong to all of you, trying to educate you. That it creates a bad feeling in my brain. And I do it more to resolve that than it is to, it's not, you know what I mean. Have fun fighting the gunners. I'm level 64, bruh. Mass fusion. Now, something I didn't understand, but it was explained to me, is that in the mass fusion building, there's what appears to be a fission reactor. And apparently, in the game, it is lore that, much like a lot of companies today, much like a lot of fusion startups today, mass fusion in the Fallout series was lying to everybody that they had fusion power and that they were just using a normal fission reactor. So they were lying that they had nuclear power and ways to do it. Do you think it's still possible for, after 200 years, orbiting satellites to be communicated with without correction? I don't know enough about the rocket engineering of that kind of stuff, but I would imagine, I mean, GPS needs constant, as an example, it needs constant correction, right? So after 200 years, I imagine that a lot of satellites like that would either deorbit themselves and crash or be useless, right? Fission versus fusion, which do you prefer? Well, fission right now, we have designs that could power the entire planet right now for 100 years each.
Over here.
Uh-oh! Don't worry. These robots are with me. Oh! Ah! They cause explosive radiation damage!
Your termination is inevitable.
Whoa, they have radium rifles too. I can't tell the difference. They explode! Yes! This weapon rules! Almost as much as this weapon. Oh, man. Now, does this weapon make any sense, chat? The answer is no. If you want to learn more, we can talk about it. Come here! Yeah, this thing like one-shots people. Even a guy in power armor. One shot. Bam! Is that a nuclear hammer? It is. Now, thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. What was I saying? I actually have to find my way to the reactor core now. What was I saying? Of course I'm going to join the Institute. Look at me. I'm a scienceman. How do I get to the Oh, God. The problems begin now. It's the... Wait, it's the frickin' elevator, right? Hit! Oh, I don't have power armor.
Going up.
Curie, my love. Curie. Oh, radioactive hammers, right. So, what doesn't make sense, technically, is that Adam's judgment, this weapon, those are fusion cores on the end of it. Now, fusion fuel is deuterium and tritium. Well, So here's the issue I'm having. Okay. So, one of the big engineering challenges of fusion is that inside of a fusion chamber, a crap load of neutrons are emitted. In fact, it's those neutrons that we want to harvest to get the heat from them to turn turbines to make steam. That's how fusion energy works. But those crap load of neutrons are also ionizing radiation that can be dangerous. Now, I guess the implication is that there's cracked fusion cores on the end of this hammer that are emitting neutrons that damage people. But since neutron radiation is very penetrating, if I'm holding the hammer, it is going to be it is going to be literally just as dangerous for me to hold the hammer as it is from a radiation perspective to be hit by the hammer. Do you agree with the actions of the Institute? Not with like the whole robot slavery thing, but my justification whenever I play through this game is that, well, if I'm going to take over the facility literally, like I become the next administrator of the facility. Oops, I'm talking about something else. If I become the leader of the Institute, then I can make the changes so that we don't have so much robot slavery. Could there be fissile materials? Well, I'm assuming a fusion core isn't like a fusion bomb. It's more like a core that has fusion happening in it. Wouldn't it be more dangerous for you since you're carrying it constantly? Well, I mean, in the context of being hit by a hammer that has radiation emitting things or not, right? That's what I mean. This game has such a cool loading time. All right, okay, here we go. Mass Fusion Executive Suite. Oh, someone just blew up. There's the glowing sea. I like that you can see it from here. Except the color of the air glow of the ionizing radiation over there should be blue and not green. That is not... Like, it doesn't, it was reported in Chernobyl, et cetera, et cetera. But you can see it in, cyclotrons that are emitting into the air. There's pictures of that on Wikipedia. It should be glowing blue, kind of like the stadium lights down there. It should be blue, not green, because when air is ionized, excited and then de-excited and recombining with stuff, I don't know exactly what the reaction process is. How do I get to the core? It emits a photon of light that looks like blue light. I really don't want to go through this whole... Oh, God. Load me up again, Daddy. No, it's not technically Cherenkov radiation 11. The 11 on YouTube. Cherenkov radiation occurs in water. It's very... I don't know if it's technically impossible, but I think it's practically impossible in air. And that is because water is 1,000 times denser than air, and it's easier to go faster than light otherwise would in water. Light in air is still almost basically the speed of light, where I think the refractive index in water is what? Does it go 30% slower? I forget. If only I had a fact checker Chompy on the case. Would it still be Cherenkov radiation if we turn the water into Jello? I don't know. You would need the refractive index of Jello and put it next to a reactor. It's 25%? That makes sense. Oh yeah, I put her in this badass suit. Wait.
Hey.
Do you need some?
Take that little hat off. You'll look cooler. Oh, I put my dead wife's wedding ring on her. I forgot. There we go. Do you need something from me? Well, nothing that I can talk about on stream. Oh, wow. Kyle Armstrong, welcome. I appreciate that. Is it 25%? Yeah, light travels about 75% as fast in water. Now, as far as I understand it, the refractive index, the light itself is moving. Light is always at the speed of light. But
Scanning. Unknown identity. Clearance confirmed.
When it moves through a material, it interacts with that material. So light, the photons, take longer because they have to get through the material, but between each interaction with the material, inside the material rather, the light is still traveling at the speed of light. You know what I mean? So it's not like, which is to say that the light itself isn't actually slowing down. It is just taking longer to get through the material, which is in effect a slowing down. But the photons themselves aren't slow. Where's the core? Have you ever experienced flashes of light due to cosmic rays like the astronauts? No, I haven't. Does that happen on Earth? I mean, probably extremely...
Josh Glover super chatted $5.
Josh!
I hereby double dog dare you to take Lorenzo's mysterious serum, then take a drink of reactor water.
Josh, thank you for the 5. You're getting ahead of me, my man. You're getting ahead of me. You already know the most radioactive location in all the games. Thank you, Josh, for the 5. Thank you for always being here, my man. Appreciate you. Isn't the Cherenkov effect something that happens in any medium? Does it have to be water? I don't think it has to be water, but it is what is readily observed because we surround nuclear reactors with moderating and cooling water. And so you can see it easily, and it's what we're super familiar with. But I believe, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's a equation for Cherenkov radiation that you could do for different materials. It just so happens that, like, for example, in air, you'd have to have high energy particles traveling faster than light does in air, and light in air is already basically the speed of light. So you'd have to have charged particles which aren't light, which have mass that can't go the speed of light, go faster than light in air. So it makes it like practically impossible, I believe. Now, I would have to double check everything I just said. There it is. Here we go. Chat. Nope. Chat, we have reached our final goal. The most radioactive location in all of Fallout. Now, you might expect it to be this giant nuclear reactor here with a radiation symbol, but it's not. As you can see, when we go into... Oh, I already had a hazmat suit right there. When we go into the location, after going through...
Please wait.
After going through this, you can see that once we get inside where the reactor is,
Contamination complete.
the ambient level of radiation isn't actually that high. 4, 5... I mean, in terms of absolute... Robots! In terms of absolute amounts of radiation, 5, 6, 7 rads is an insane amount if you're talking about real-world levels of radiation. However, if you're talking about levels of radiation in this game... Choo-choo, baby! We've already... Choo-choo, baby! We've already seen much, much higher levels of radiation. So it's not actually this reactor here. Choo-choo, baby! What it is something further down. Now, I don't know exactly... So they fooled the public into thinking that they actually had fusion power when they didn't. They actually had just a fission reactor, and I guess it's unshielded, rather. That's why I'm getting 9 rads per second, which is close to 10 rads per second, which is about 360 sieverts per hour, which would be divided by 6. It's 60 sieverts. No, divided by 60. It's 6 sieverts per minute, which means you'll get a lethal dose of radiation in a little over a minute. Less than 2 minutes, you'll get a lethal dose of radiation, which would be crazy. But the real most radioactive location in all of Fallout is in this water, as you will see in a moment. Is the audio limiter turned off? What do you mean? Is my microphone doing something weird? Max torque! Max torque! Have you ever witnessed the Aurora Borealis? No, I haven't. I think there should be a conversion mod where, yeah, we could make a mod to make all of the radiation exposure in this game accurate. Kyle, how does water keep radiation in? Well, it doesn't keep it in. It's just a good way to shield the radiation, which is to say, reduce the intensity of the radiation going through it. So on the other side of the shield, there is less radiation than on the other side of the shield. You use water in a nuclear reactor. Oh, well, that's not technically a shield. It is a moderator and a coolant. You use water as a shield in something like a spent fuel pool, which is next to a nuclear reactor. This is where the spent fuel gets moved to before it gets moved to dry cast storage. I know too much! I should work in the industry. Because what comes out of nuclear reactors and fission reactions is neutrons. Now, neutrons are neutral, electrically speaking, which means they are not stopped in the same way by electromagnetic forces of atoms and molecules. So to stop them, you use kind of like imagine two billiard balls hitting each other of similar mass. One is going to stop pretty efficiently if there's a good transfer of momentum, right? Well, neutrons are about the same in mass as hydrogen atoms. And what has a lot of hydrogen atoms that we have a lot of access to? It's water. And so we use the hydrogen in easily accessible regular water to block neutrons. Now, science time, it doesn't have to be water, it's just because water is everywhere and it's easy. Any hydrogenous material that contains hydrogen could also be used. That's why there's also shielding from plastics and waxes, which are long polymer chains with a lot of hydrogen atoms. So it's not just water, but that's why you use it. Water is relatively dense, but the question is, why don't you shield a spent fuel pool with a bunch of lead then, which is much more dense than water? Well, A, that'd be really expensive, but B, lead does not block neutrons as good as water does for the same amount of material. Seems louder than usual. It is louder than usual. It sounded really my voice sounded really quiet when I was playing back the stream from earlier. So that's why it sounds... So I want my voice to be higher than the game. Anyway, so 8 rads is really, really bad. 26, 25... Oh, I'm sinking! 26 rads is extremely bad. It's still not the highest we've ever seen in these games. But there are 2 ways to see the highest radiation in these games. The first is to get a super secret... Not secret, but a special piece of armor in the game that allows you to get any amount of radiation without dying. Now, why would you need that, Kyle? Well, mostly because if I try to drink this water, I die instantaneously, as you can see here. But as has been shown to me, if you can find a way to drink this water without dying, you will see the highest level of radiation in any Fallout game. Does that make the water heavy? I don't know what the production of deuterium and tritium outside of a nuclear reactor is. I don't know. I don't know. Tritium is weak beta. Who we're talking about? Andrew Tate. Tritium is created in the atmosphere by neutron-based interactions with nitrogen, I believe. I know too much. Someone correct me. Do you know about the heavy water plant in Norway during WW2? Predator, I have an entire episode about that nuclear sabotage during World War II. Check out the Half-Life Histories playlist if you want to watch it. That's how tritium is created. It's heavy hydrogen. I believe... So heavy hydrogen is hydrogen with 1 neutron or 2 neutrons. 2 neutrons make it tritium because there's 3 particles. Tritium is weakly beta is a weak beta like Andrew Tate, and you can use it as fusion fuel because it is still the light element hydrogen, but it's as heavy as hydrogen gets, and you want the most mass to get the most mass defect during fusion, so you get the most energy out of the fusion process. I know too much. Now, did I get any of that right? I feel like most of that was correct. Anyway, time to cheat. So, what is to get to the most radioactive location in the Fallout games, we must cheat. Well, you don't have to. You can get a piece of armor. But I'm lazy. So what I'm going to do is bring up the console command and make myself a god. Now, by doing that, I can drink this Wawa. And if I do that, hopefully... There you go, chat. Right there. This is the most radioactive thing in any Fallout game. Right down here. $10,000 rads. 10,000 rad. Now, let's... Oops, my controller's unplugged. Now, let me put that into context for you for a second. If I can. So, 10,000 rads per second is... Oh, gosh. Okay. So, Well, I'll try to do this while moving around, because that would make it more impressive. 10,000 rads per second is 360,000 sieverts per hour.
Please wait.
If we're talking about beta and gamma radiation, the weighting factor for that radiation in terms of how it relates to biological effects on tissue is 1, which means that it's equal to 360,000 grays. Now, 360,000 grays, if we multiply that by 100 to get to Rentgen units, again, assuming that the weighting factor is 1, 360,000, which is 36 with 4, becomes 36 with 6, which is 36... Wait. 36 million Rentgen per hour. Okay. Right? 36... Doing all of it off the top of my head. 36... 1, 2, 3 times 100 is 36 million Rentgen. Now, 36 million Rentgen is a lot. What was coming out of the Chernobyl nuclear reactor right after it exploded, you might remember from the series, is somewhere above 10,000 Rentgen per hour. Which means that drinking the water in the mass fusion reactor in Fallout 4 is 3,000 times worse than the Chernobyl nuclear disaster was immediately after the reactor was exposed to air. That handful of water gave me more of a dose rate, 3,000 times more of a dose rate than the worst nuclear accident in history. That makes it easily... Oh, I love you too. Oh, I love you too. That makes it easily the most radioactive location in any Fallout game. I hope that throughout the last, 2 months of streams, that all of this has provided... Curie, get in here! All of this has provided the proper context and educational content to understand what all of that means. Does anyone have any questions? Also, is tritium produced in the atmosphere by a neutron-based interaction with nitrogen in the atmosphere? Pretty sure it is. It is something I just learned. How fast does one die by drinking 10,000 rad of water? Now, something else. So, in the Chernobyl TV show and other Half-Life histories that we've gone through, you know that death by radiation isn't a quick thing. But, you're talking hours to weeks. But if the dose of radiation is high enough, you can cause nearly instantaneous death by interfering with the body's central nervous system. So 10,000. So the highest dose the highest whole body dose any single person has ever received is about 100 sieverts. Drinking 10,000 rad. 10,000 rad. Let's just say it's 10,000 rad without taking time into account. Let's just say it's 10,000 rad. You drink it over 1 second. 10,000 rad is 100. Assuming it is beta and or gamma, where the weighting factor for that radiation in terms of how it affects biological tissue is 1, then 10,000 rad is equivalent to 100 sieverts or grays, which means that one dose of radiation that I just showed you inside mass fusion is equivalent to the highest whole body dose any human has ever experienced. And he died in less than 48 hours. Or like 49 hours. 46? Less than 50 hours. He died in less than 50 hours after experiencing that. There's kind of a rule of thumb that scientists have found, and I'll talk about this in a video soon. A rule of thumb, I don't look so hot. It's probably because... How much rad do I have right now? I have mole rat disease from that stupid kid. We'll talk about this in a full video about this accident. Nope, I forgot. Tritium-3 is hydrogen. I know, Jacob! How is it formed? I think it's formed in the atmosphere. Naturally. Are you going to destroy the Brotherhood of Steel? I believe I already did that in this file. I forget. Blowing up the Pridwin is pretty sick. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. I said we're going to talk about this more when I get to it, but... Nope, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone forever. Oh, I'm looking at a gamma gun also. So I don't know how this would produce gamma rays. How you produce X-rays is through Bremsstrahlung. I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Or braking radiation. You fire beta radiation or electrons at a target, like a metal target, and when those electrons are slowed down, they produce X-rays. And then those X-rays you can direct at stuff to image your bones. Now remember, Chad, when you image your bones, what you're seeing is the shadow of your bones. Okay? When you see a classical X-ray, everything that is black has been exposed to X-rays. Everything is white has not been exposed. So your bones and other tissues are scattering and or absorbing X-ray photons, preventing them from getting to the film, like a photographic film. Same thing, both photons. So the white part is not what is hitting. It is the black. It's what's not hitting that's important. And that's why I call X-ray film, X-rays, bone shadowers. The bone shadow. Thoughtatron 9000. You know what I'm talking about, girl. Thoughtatron 9000.
Yes, me darling.
Oh, yeah. I love you, too. Oh, you weren't... You girls weren't supposed to be in the same room at the same time. I didn't, yeah, yeah, no, hey, Curie, that's Kate. Kate, that's Curie. Yeah, so if, yeah, so the thing is, if you girls wanted to just fly away! And just get out of there, chat. They'll become friends. They'll talk about their laboo-boos and shit. Oh, is it Piper? Is that you here too?
So, you know, going over it in my
No,
head,
no, 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 no. Oh, you, no, it's you were you supposed, you were to fly away. Yes, yes. They'll never find out about each other. Never. Okay, YouTube chat. Something's wrong with you, so you will have to bear with me. Because I haven't... Don't look at that. I haven't seen a message from you in a while. One moment. Don't look at that. One moment. Don't worry your pretty little heads. One moment. So chat, those are the most radioactive locations in Fallout. That was, what was it? It was in New Vegas. It was the site where we nuked Caesar's Legion, which got up to like 300 rads per second, which again is a crazy amount of radiation. 300 rads per second. I feel like I did the math wrong. I just realized I did the math wrong in mass fusion. Okay. So, hear me out. Okay. 300 rads per second in Fallout New Vegas. That is a lethal dose of radiation. 1 kilorad, 1,000 rads, 10 sieverts in less than 4 seconds. Right. Then we went to Fallout 3 at Vault 87, and we found a highest rad rating of 3,000 rads per second, which means that's 10 more, so it's going to be 10 less. So less, so like 0.4 seconds, less than half a second to give, less than half of a second to give you a lethal dose of radiation. Okay. And then we got to mass fusion, which was another another 3 number. Then we got to mass fusion, which was 10,000 rads per second, which divided by 3,000 is 3 times... okay. Okay. So, Fallout New Vegas. Lethal dose of radiation in 3 seconds. Then, it got 10 times higher in Fallout 3. Lethal dose in 1/3 of a second. Then... then it went... Wait, that was 10,000, not, so 3, then it went, three times higher than that, from 3,000 to 10,000, roughly. So we divide that by Why am I borking on this right now? Hey, YouTube chat, there you are. There you are. Why am I borking on this? Why am I borking on this so hard right now? Can you read the YouTube? Yeah, I see, guys. I haven't seen you for many minutes. I'm sorry. One moment. Ah! Nonoku, I love you too, but not in that way. In like a cool way. Okay. Bring it back up. Wait. Nope. Wrong one. Bring it back up. Nope. Just do the thing that I want to do so I can finish this. Oh my gosh. Nope. Okay. So. Bam. Okay. So we first started with 300 rad per second. Okay. We're just going to go with 300 rad per second, and then death is 1,000 rad. 1 kilo rad, as we said. So, instead of doing this off the top of my head, this is what we're going to do. So, how quickly will you reach your lethal dose in Fallout New Vegas? In its hottest location? Less than 4 seconds. Then, we found a location with 3,000 rads per second in Fallout 3. That is a third of a second. Lethal dose of radiation. Then, we found 10,000 rad per second in Fallout 4, which is a lethal dose in 0.1 seconds. 100 milliseconds, twice as fast as you can blink your eye, faster than human reaction time. So that is why criticality accidents and things like that, like the Demon Core, like other criticality accidents we've talked about in the main channel at length, that's why it can be so haunting and so scary, where you can receive a dose that will kill you before you have time to react. And then you will die hours to days to weeks later. You will be a dead man walking. That is why I always remember that haunting apparent moment where Lewis Slaughton is quoted as saying, well, that's it. Because after he dropped the Demon Core beryllium sphere reflector and he knocked it off, after that happened, he knew that even though it happened in maybe just a fraction of a second, he was dead. He was a dead man walking. And that is scary. But again, these contexts are important, right? Nah, I'd survive. You're right. You're right. Twitch chat is better than YouTube chat. Is there a limit to the amount of radiation that can affect you at one time, or you just switch off after a certain amount? Says Hollow Jack over on YouTube. Well, like I said, above a certain... Sorry, I just got an email from my accountants. That's a lot of money! One moment. Uh-oh. That is not gonna feel good in the old wallet. So, like we said, just to give you a rough scale of things, in terms of what happens to you at different levels of ionizing radiation dose. So at like 1 gray or 1 sievert, if it's roughly equivalent because it is beta and gamma radiation, not alpha, that has a different weighting factor. Then 1 gray or sievert, that's about when radiation sickness starts. And that's when you see vomiting, diarrhea, confusion, depletion, some depletion of all your blood-making cells, etc. Once you get up to 10 sieverts or grays, you're basically 99% of people don't survive that. That's when you have an almost complete depletion of your white blood cells, your bone marrow. Your bone marrow literally disappears, turns to mush, and all the cells die. But and then you have widespread organ failure, you have bleeding in your intestines and your stomach and other internal tissues, which leads to infection from the bacteria in there, and you die from infection, organ failure, that kind of thing. But at doses like way above that, like 100, that's when, to answer your question, HoloJack, that's when you start having so much damage that it affects the central nervous system directly, and you can be put into like a coma and like knocked out and then die. So yes, there is a radiation dose at which you kind of are just switched off. You know what I mean? Next payment on the facility's nuclear reactor refuel finally come due. You don't know the half of it, buddy. Sheesh. And I have to pay the Kevin Union. They just unionized. Wanting adequate safety in the facility. Especially near all the turrets. What? I need a little railing so I don't fall into the people musher. Why do we need a people musher? Don't worry about it. I'm trying to get hydrocarbons. Don't worry about it. Niels, yeah, that was at SL1 in Idaho. I'd probably prefer to go that way rather than slowly bleeding out from every place. Do you see a bright blue flash of light like with the Demon Core? So when the Demon Core went off in two different instances, what they're seeing, we think, and the blue flash of light has been reported, not recorded, but reported in multiple criticality accidents, not just the Demon Core. And that is probably a direct ionization of the air around the now critical mass. And it's not Cherenkov in the eyes. Although, maybe it could be, I don't know. But I think it's direct air ionization. Which is to say, if you're hit with X amount of radiation, do you see that blue light? It'd be from the source. Is what I'm. If you're going to, it's going to be emanating from the source. You know what I mean? Surely there is a safer way to experiment with the Demon Core than what they did, right? Yes. So, in a recent episode of the most recent episode of Half-Life History, the most recent episode of Half-Life Histories, we talked about Russia's Demon Core. Russia's Demon Core, the Sarov criticality accident, and in that, I'm gonna DMCA myself. In this criticality accident, they didn't use just two spheres by themselves, separated by you could drop something in Doglian setup, or you could hold it open like this. The much safer way to do this, to answer your question, is what they did in other criticality setups, like in Russia did, like this, where you have same thing. You have a subcritical mass, and you have reflectors that reflect neutrons back on the source to make it into a critical mass, or prompt critical, supercritical. And this can be raised or lowered mechanically from outside of the room by an operator, right? So that is a much safer way to do that. Instead of having some guy being like, oh, Oh. 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 Ooh. Hope I don't die and kill everyone in the room. You can set this up, leave the room, and then raise and lower millimeter by millimeter mechanically a setup. And that is a safer way to do that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like saying his username either, but you know. The Kevin's unionized? Mm-hmm. What? You need what? You need non-ionized coffee? Why? Why? Are you a Magic the Gathering nerd? Do you play at trading card stores? Me? A Magic the Gathering nerd? No. Come on. I mean, what kind of dork would sit around, spend hundreds of, if not thousands of dollars on just pieces of cardboard that, you know, you just look at and they look nice? And what kind of Dorcas Malorcas would sit around a table with thousands, if not tens of thousands of cards and what kind of absolute loser would have, you know, deck boxes and labeled things and cards that cost, you know, tens to hundreds of dollars that they put in fancy sleeves and things like that, and then they go out and they play with them. What kind of maniac would have so many cards that you could start doing engineering projects just using the cards as raw material themselves, because you have so many cards and so many copies of the same card? Like, imagine the kind of idiot that would put so much into what amounts to so little. Like, what are you actually doing, bro? You know, like, what does it actually matter if what if you didn't have that many cards? Like, imagine all the other things that you could do. Like, if you didn't spend all your time cracking packs and looking at stuff and thinking about how different cards interact together, like, imagine all the other things that you could do with your life. I mean, think of the guy who has decks that each have their own, you know, sleeves and everything, and you imagine how other people look at him, and you just think to yourself, like, at least I don't have it as bad as that guy who just has who's obviously not spending the time, you know, thinking about the correct things in life. Like, what kind of guy is gonna, like, how interesting can a guy be if one of the main things he's gonna tell you about is, you know, just the fact that, like, how confusing it is that, you know, CEDH staples that used to be staples like Brainstorm just don't seem like they're in the rotation anymore. Like, imagine having a conversation that started like that, and then, like, where you're supposed to go from there. Okay, I think that bit went far enough. I gotta be careful, though. Some of these cards are really expensive. How long did that go? How long was I doing that for? I kind of blacked out. No, this is not me showing you all these cards and my accountant emailing me during the stream. Those two things are not related. They're not. They're not. If you try to prove that they are, I'll sue you. That was quite a long bit. Yeah. There are little streams on Twitch about opening new packs. Yeah, no. Dog, it's a joke. I am extremely into Magic the Gathering. I'm extremely into Magic the Gathering. I'm heavily invested. I have like, I only play one format, and I have like 30 decks in that format at any one time that I play with. Have you gotten any new cards lately? Yeah, all these boxes I just showed you is from collector boxes from the latest set. Got some good stuff in there too. I heard you're giving away all your 1,000 plus cards. I don't have many cards that are worth more than $1,000. I have a couple of them. Off the top of my head, I can think of 2 that I own that are more than $1,000. But anyway, chat. What do we do next? We have what are our options? Let's see. Let us see. Do you have a guy's cradle? Yes. Let me just make sure my girlfriends aren't all in the same room together, because that is a recipe for disaster. That is. Oh, I didn't show you all my cool. I didn't show you all my cool stuff. That's not how that button works. Hell yeah. Wait. Hell yeah. Sheesh. Yes. Yes. Ow. Yes.
You'd move faster if you kept your eyes on the road and off me arse.
Yes. Speaking of whatever you just said.
Only thing better than getting pissed is picking a fight. Am I right?
I love you. Yeah, chat. We can do some stuff, but I don't know. Nice. Kyle, have you ever built Gundam? I have built Gundam, yeah. Gundams are awesome. I'm never going to come back to this. Why do I... Do you think you ever do a Fallout 3 playthrough? Sure. We already found the most radioactive location in there. But as to what we do now, because that's basically the end of our little adventure throughout these games that we wanted to... Our main objective is complete, is what I'm getting at. It is almost time. It is time to get into Metal Gear Solid, I believe. But the Kevins aren't done with all of the upgrades to the facility that we need to do it correctly. So, actually, there is one more piece of power armor that I need. Hey, puppy! Look at him. Come on. There is one more piece of power armor that I need. Curie, you want to have a quick... just a little afternoon delight for you. There is a... This is the update DLC. So there is the Enclave armor, which I do need to find somewhere. What am I doing? Which one is it? Is it... Is it Echoes of the Past? I think it is. Use all the weapons! 1,400. Ooh, I got a lot of... Ooh. Got a lot of bullets. Oh, excuse me. It's not fully automatic. Boo. You show her your alpha wave? My alpha particle, highly penetrating. God, I hate Dunwich borers so much. Which is the one where the Enclave is? We need to genetically modify cordyceps? No. We have a whole game about why that's probably bad. Zoonosis, as it's called. Zoonosis is when a non-human infecting organism starts to infect humans. It mutates enough because it's in close contact or it goes through a bunch of natural selection, whatever. But there can be a spillover event in which a pathogen becomes infectious in humans that wasn't before, like cordyceps. Don't worry about it. See you. God, I hate Dunwich boards. There's so many bad guys here. Like these bad guys. Crotch. Remember, chat. Always crotch. Always aim for the crotch. The devil side quest is what you're looking for? Speak of the devil. Thank you, thank you. Curie, take a gun out. Thank you. Dunwich Boars blows. Go back and finish Mass Effect. I can't figure out... Chat. If I open Mass Effect, what will immediately happen is that my camera will start flickering, and I can't figure out why. And that is untenable for me. It's annoying. I don't want to look at it. "47 science times" is crazy, chat. Go back and finish StarCraft. No, Mass Effect isn't over. I will definitely play it if I can figure out how to make it watchable. Or I could just bring up Kyle Bob Ross and be not moving around. Does it make you open the EA launcher? It does. Go back and finish start. I don't think I'm not mechanically ready with my fingers to do that. I could handle Kyle Bob Ross. Yeah, he's pretty chill. He's kind of a chill dude. You game and stream on the same PC? I do. Because I don't stream that much. We only stream like once a week, so I've never gone the full streamer route. But I am looking into getting a absolutely pumped gaming PC and another monitor. Play Black Mesa. Oh, good idea. Actually, chat, actually. So, Niels, I just recently played Black Mesa for the first time after many people recommended it to me. And I will say two things. First, I will say that you all were correct. Black Mesa is phenomenal. Second, I will say... First, it's phenomenal. The first thing I'm going to say is I totally understand why everyone says that that Half-Life 1... Well, I understand why Half-Life 1 changed the game. Like, completely... It was like... It's like no one's ever seen before. It totally revolutionized first-person shooters. It's incredible. second. In terms of a first experience, I mean, Half-Life 1 is pretty close to Half-Life 2. It might even be better. Wait, is this... This isn't... Oh, wait, no, you're right. Yeah. You're right. But what I was gonna say, go back to Oblivion. That game sucks. Is that we're gonna do probably next month. I'd like to do like a marathon kind of stream, not like a subathon where you watch me sleep like weirdos, but more so we'll do longer streams every day until the marathon is done. And what I want to do is play all of the Half-Life games back to back. So we'll do Black Mesa, Half-Life 2, and then both of the DLCs. And as we do that, I want to raise more money for the Dogs of Chernobyl program. So yeah, I think we'll do like 6 to 8 hours a day or something like that. A full day of streaming Half-Life, the entire series, all while talking about and raising money for the Dogs of Chernobyl program. Because there's some things that I cannot safely tell you about things that are happening in Ukraine. But I'll say that if you are interested in the Dogs of Chernobyl, if you like our work, if you like just the idea of preserving a medically interesting population of mammals, they could use the money. Have you ever heard how Eric Cartman says Kyle? No, who's Eric Cartman? We also have to play Abiotic Factor because I am literally in the game. Is there anything close to Rad-X and Radaway? We talked about that at the beginning of the stream, if you want to check that out. Did they ever figure out how to patch the hole in the dome? I am not up to date on any changes they've made at the NSC. Yeah, we have to play through. We'll probably make our own server, and I'll pay for it or whatever, and we'll play some Abiotic Factor, and then we'll find and then it'll take us like 40 hours apparently to get to the character that I voice in that game. Suck it! And yeah, we got to do that. We also have to do that. Have you ever considered the Stalker series? I have, but we tried to play Heart of Chernobyl when it came out, and it was super buggy, and I never went back to it. Oh, hey. Hey, guys. Hey. Hello. 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 Oh, my back and my butt. Ow. And my crack. No, I can't say. No, I mean for...
You should wash your hands after that. It can be unsanitary to handle the deceased.
I love you so much. What I mean is that for security reasons, I can't tell you everything that's happening in Chernobyl right now. It would be dangerous for the people who are there. But I can tell you that raising money to get supplies in that area would be not a bad idea. So that's what we're going to do. we are going to raise money with a Half-Life marathon, I think. I don't know when I'm going to do it. Next month, but I think it'll be next month. Globanizer has been deployed. Speaking of which, chat, I also don't know. I also don't know anything about the next Atomic Heart games. Technically, my character isn't dead, so I could be in the next games, but I don't know. Oh man, I should have never helped Connie with that radio. Now he's done for. I was in the bushes when they took him. One of them said they were talking to him to that old police bureau across the river. It sounds like they wanted to interrogate him. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. I can upload the Stars and Stripes, but Connie still has to tape with the other music on it. He's so clever, though. Maybe he can find a way out. I guess I can do his way here. Hope it comes back. Load it up. Transfer complete. Well, I got $5 for the puppies. Well, when we do the stream, I'll definitely take it. Kyle's hick accent has a pinch of goofy in it. I was kind of doing, it was kind of a goofy, it was a hick accent, but it wasn't goofy I was trying to channel. I was trying to channel, what's his name? The scaredy cat cop from all the black and white TV shows. Was he in Leave It to Beaver? I forget. But, what was his name? It's an old... Don Knotts, right? Don Knotts? I believe. Not Jeff Foxworthy. Jeff Foxworthy would be like, if your gun rack has a gun rack on it. Barney Fife? No. Yeah, Don Knotts. From the movie The Ghost and Mr. Chicken? That only I have watched? Oh. Got it. Andy Griffith. Ah, yes. That's it. Thank you, Aaliyah. Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to do more like a scared guy. Kind of like a scared guy. I should be a voice actor. Kind of like a scared guy. Good. Chat, how we doing? Whistle the Andy Griffith show song? I can't whistle. Preston Stewart and Combat Army Vet have a good charity event going to Ukraine. So, Russian, I will be raising money specifically for the Clean Futures Fund, which helps people and pets and the wild dogs in the exclusion zone and Chernobyl City specifically, and Slavutich. So it won't. I don't want to get, even though I support completely support Ukraine's sovereignty, rather. I completely support Ukraine's sovereignty. I don't want to have direct political fundraising activity, political adjacent fundraising activities. Because even though I know all of you will understand, all of the other people who come in and watch the stream over however many hours we do it, they're going to be like, oh, Kyle, why don't you say this? Why don't you say that? You know what I mean? What I'm concerned about is what I've been raising money for them for years, so that's what we're going to do. How are the doggos doing? Not super great. Rum Nerd says, I'm currently getting fat. Sick. Your scared old guy sounds like a elderly Jimmy Stewart. Well, you go back to the bank and you tell him to sit on it. I don't even know what that fucking means. Sheesh! Get your kids out of the room. X-Wing. Good evening, sir. Love your videos. I love X-Wings. That's not true. I don't really care for them, but thanks for being here. Mr. Pangburn, I agree. Hopefully once... Yeah, yes. Slava. Kyle, have you seen Alien Earth? No, not yet. What we want to do, again, is be apolitical while raising money for something that I'm directly involved with. I don't want to just raise money for a generic, while very valid and important cause. That's not what I want to do. I am directly involved. I'll put it this way, Chad. If you go on the website, I am literally the social media ambassador for the Clean Futures Fund. So that's who I'll be raising money for. Because that's the world that I'm involved in. It's what I care about right now. Not that I don't care about... Hell yeah. Not that I don't care about other things, but it's something that I can directly affect in a way, you know? I'm the ambassador of love? No, you're not. That's the Tom Tom Club. Yeah, John Hopkins, we don't have to get into it. That's not my aim. Mirror Life video was thought-provoking, says Damned Legion. Thank you, man. That that video kind of proved to me that we don't have to do just nuclear histories. We could basically do any kind of relatively scary histories. And that I'm also much better speaking off camera than I am. I'm better off camera than I am on camera. Like, I'm fine on camera, but I'm definitely better when I'm just speaking words that were written good by me. Awesome content creator. Keep up the good work. You're a bloody legend, mate. Thank you, Damned Legion. Appreciate it. Oh, damn, Niels. That's crazy. Actually, one of our the lead vet at the Clean Futures Fund met President Zelensky, and he actually took a selfie with her. So, again, political adjacent. Tom Snout, I'm not... It's not that I'm not trying to dread max all of my content. It just so happens that I am continuously worried about existential risks. And so I made a video about it. But then, you know, I just learned of another radiation-based conspiracy theory, and then I wrote a script on that. What was the name of the thing? It will tell me. Wait. I'm dreadmaxing! I'm gonna hack this holotape. Decrypting. I'm Kiwi, but Aussie. Your Aussie accent is close enough. I can do a Kiwi accent. I just have to... I have to curtail my words a little bit more and bring bring everything up a little bit. You know, like Australians more drawn out and lower and more like, you know, you're loosey-goosey with it. And then if you want to be up here and be more Kiwi, everything gets a little bit higher and then a little bit more curtailed in the words. See, I'm not going like words. Going like words, you know? I think that's much closer. You tell me, damn Legion. Give me like a give me like an X out of 10. You know? Not even close. Sorry, Kyle, says Lords of Dunsfold. You are objectively wrong. I think it's pretty close. Guys, are you going to let the Stig come in here and tell me that I'm wrong? Stick to racing. Which you are very good at. You're a Kiwi? Matt Damon football movie out of 10? All of you, shut up. It's fine. What's your PB on science time? Says Robert Di Benedetto. I don't know. I think it's above 50. And I can't remember which one that was in. Where am I going now? Beep, boop, bop. Beep, boop, bop. I thought that was... It was fine. Beep. I can't remember if the over 50 science times was... I feel like it was in Dead Space, but I'm not sure. Okay. Alright. Dunsfold, if that is your real name. Is my Australian better than my Kiwi? Because I've been told by Australians that the opposite is true. I also talked to 3 Australians at Open Sauce. I talked to Code Bullet for a while, my friend Nessie Hill, who does Braincraft. They all gave me a solid 7 or 8 out of 10. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Chat, how many of you have seen... Oh! 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 Ah! Shoot it with... Ah! Ah! Whoa! Curie, what happened? Ah! Oh, they're huge! Mole rats don't get cancer! Ah! Stop it! Boom! Bye-bye. What are all the games and shows you've done voice acting in? I've only done 2 official ones. I'm a character in Abiotic Factor, and I'm a character in Atomic Heart DLC number 3. Officially? What do you mean officially? Yeah, Code Bullet's a good guy, but Code Bullet is like 6'7", so he's very tall. So his Australian accent's down here. It's much lower. Your Aussie accent's 8 out of 10. Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. If you've done Abiotic Factor, surely you can do a better Kiwi accent. You let me know when you're in the game, and then maybe I will. I don't even know what I'm doing in this quest. Because Lords of Dunsfold is one-guying me. I don't even know what I'm doing. Am I trying to lure the Enclave to the Commonwealth or something? Wait, what am I doing? We were trying to summon the Black Devil, get him to protect the farm, so... The man you're looking for is no hero. He's a thief, and the army he wears rightfully belongs to the Enclave. You're talking nonsense, pal. The Devil's a guardian. He protects the farm from scum like you. Your opinion is irrelevant. All we want to know is where to find him. Why don't you check a police station? I hear he works there by day cleaning toilets. Maybe you ought to take a real good look inside one. Sergeant Hodges, do me a favor and hand me that hammer. Jesus. Okay, so Enclave remnants are trying to find Enclave armor, which a guy who is Batman is currently wearing. Got it. Sounded like you did some unofficially. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Your anime voice is good? Oh, that's not even anime. If you want me to... Do you want me to do, like... I can read it as, like, generic Action Man anime. Anime. XO2 power armor. Isn't it? That's the one that the Enclave wears, right? You're installing the Black Devil's music in the broadcast towers to give hope to the Commonwealth. Like Bruce Wayne. I could do generic anime guy. Found the armor who was a hunch, but based on... It's a bat cave! Hey there, bats! Hey there, Batman! Honestly, I was aiming for her head. Doing generic anime accent guy. Oh man, my voice is gonna be frickin' wrecked when we go to Metal Gear Solid. Doing Snake the whole time. Lolly Lule Low. Nanomachines. Oh man. That's a really good Joker, actually. I'm a professional! Thank you. I don't know what you guys are... Was that a woman? What the hell are you talking about? Psycho Mantis. My voice is going to be jacked. My voice is going to have muscles. My voice is going to have muscle. Mole rats! You might be immune to cancer, but you're not immune to 12 gauge. Shotguns, that is. Whoa, Curie, whoa. Whoa. I expect a Snake accent through the entirety of a Metal Gear Solid playthrough. I think I could die. Can you do the deeper Joker voice? No, I can only attempt to imitate a Mark Hamill Joker. That's as close. I can only do that one. Hit. 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 How did I miss that? Do Gilbert Godfrey. I've never tried Gilbert Godfrey. I used to be able to do, what's his name from Police Academy? What is happening? This happened last time I tried to do this. How am I falling off that? He has a oh yeah, you know, the normal deeper tone, like the conversational Joker voice is very difficult. Ah! That's why. Then we go here. What are you guys doing? Fred and Mercenary. Yeet. Yeet. Can you do Heath Ledger? I haven't really tried. It's more like Heath Ledger's kind of like, and I thought my jokes were bad, kind of thing. But I haven't really practiced any any of that, really. I think I tried it. I think I was kind of into it at one point, but...
Got it.
That one's hard, too. Yep, that guy exploded. Carrie. Did you... Mole rats! Ah! Mole rats! Ah! Get in here! I need to explode some heads. Whoa! Bobcat Goldthwait. That's it. Dennis Rodman is streaming on Twitch? Yikes. Yeesh.
Ah, refuge.
Whatever's in there is gonna get frickin' wrecked. Why are mole rats immune to cancer? I don't actually know off the top of my head. I would guess it's because someone fact check me. I would guess it's because they have an incredible amount of like oncogene suppression or like tumor suppression genes, like oncogenes. But someone can correct me on that. I'm not sure, but I think it's genetics. Okay, I'm not going to waste this ammunition on some stupid bugs. Where's Batman?
There is something nearby.
Killed all three of them. Okay, so I've already been in here. Where's Batman?
And here I am with no duster.
I think it's because tumor suppressor genes. DNA repair mechanisms? Well, that's different than... Well, yeah, I guess... No, that's different. But I know what you're saying. Oh!
Perhaps they are friendly.
They're not friendly. Come back here. There's poisonous gas everywhere. I gotta ignite it. Curie, come back here. Curie. Curie. Oh, it goes everywhere. Are sharks immune to cancer too? No. We have a whole episode about that myth and why that myth has caused an explosion of Asian remedies and Asian food that has killed an unbelievable, an unconscionable amount of sharks. There it is. Hell yeah. Batman armor. An unbelievable amount of sharks. So sharks do get cancer. You can see tumors on the outside of sharks' faces sometimes. Shark fin soup, yeah. Not just shark fin soup, but like cartilage. Just shark cartilage as a treatment. Wait, which? Oh, hello. I nailed it. I nailed it. Naked mole rats have a specialized form of whatever, an active tumor suppressor gene and a specialized immune system. Additionally, they exhibit unique metabolic adaptations that may further contribute to their lack of cancer getting. Yes, so it is an active tumor suppressor gene. Suppressor gene! Holy shnikes! Anyone see these viral pictures of bunnies with tentacle faces? Yeah, I've known about that disease for a long time, actually. I've known about that disease for a long time. Hell yeah, look at this bad boy. Woo! This guy's sick. And now I will be sick as well. I'm gonna be Batman. What? Who's... Batman doesn't like that. Bam. 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 Come here. I'm resistant. Ah, Batman. Ah. Batman. Yes, yes, yes. I'm a Big Bat Boy. In my Bat Cave, activating the Bat Computer. I was once a military officer, a patriot who wore the uniform with pride. I finished with honors at the academy, rose quickly through the ranks, and joined an elite group of soldiers known as the Devil's Hand. As a special forces unit, we were given access to new prototypes, the crown jewel of which was the X-02 power armor. With it, we cleansed the wasteland of mutants, ferals, and the unpure. We found old technology and discovered uncharted land. We did it all with ruthless efficiency. For that, I was decorated, distinguished, and yet I felt more disillusioned than anything. We mocked the outsiders for being unclean, but after each mission, I was always the one who felt dirty. Everything was done to maximize Enclave resources and strategic positions, with no consideration for those who paid the cost of our labors. Some were children, others barely born. But if you ask me why I defected, it wasn't one thing. There was no crying child, no singular event that made me turn. My belief in what we were doing simply eroded over time, like a callus slowly peeling off the skin. I used to believe the Enclave was here to protect the ideals this country was founded on. Now I realize that couldn't be further from the truth. And so, I left the Enclave for good. Okay, I can't do that the whole time. I can't do that to the whole... I can't do it. 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 I can't. Why do you keep telling me to do this? Oh. No, I'm not restoring the Enclave. Shut that off. And that triggered the... That triggered the safe. Is that what he said? ¿Dónde está la safe? Right there. The Devil's Inferno. Ooh, that must be a mod. We don't want you to hurt your voice. Nah. Keep talking like that. That was cool. Should I read the rest of it? Do you want me to read the rest of it? No. Nah, too late. Nah, too late. Janine! Well, sorry, Janine's cats. Welcome. I'm Janine's cats. My name's Gemma and Ghost. And then I left the Enclave for good. Should have some Weewa. ¿Dónde está? It's next to la biblioteca. The Biblio. El Bibi. I want to see what the Inferno upgrade is. I want to see what the Inferno upgrade is. Look at these grossos. Put some clothes on. Everyone can see your... Oh, I guess that's gone. All the Josh, all the new items they added for the next gen update, all the weapons are really cool. They had the Tesla cannon back too, I think, right? Would you ever play with other streamers? Yeah, sure. But I don't really play any of the games that they play. ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? I want to play with the peanut. You know that, Russian. What is Dennis Rodman streaming? What is he playing? Warzone or something? If Vaultec came to your door today, would you answer the call? Yeah. If some guy came to my door right now and said, hey, there's an affordable way for you to get an underground nuclear bunker, I'd be like, please tell me more. That's where ugh. Yes. Finally. Finally. Arc Raiders looks cool, yeah. I mean, I played extraction shooters before. I played Escape from Tarkov until I got so mad I almost broke my hand on my desk. And then I stopped playing. Alright, what can I do to this bad boy here?
That doesn't look half bad.
It's already... Okay, so it's already at the... Oh, it's not at the highest. It goes up to 6? Well, I have a crap load of materials at least. Tesla helmet. What's the... It must be the paint or something, right? Enclave, us. Look at all this crap. What is the, Cool. What is the, Inferno one? What mod is that? Tesla Brake. Oh, this whole thing can become a Tesla coil. Hell yeah. What's the Inferno thing? Vault 69? Nice. Oh, maybe. Yeah. It's a mod. It's a paint mod? I thought that's what I was doing. But it should be on everything then. You should be able to paint the whole thing in the thing. There it is. Deals damage to nearby enemies. Increases wearer's movement speed by 5%. Taking damage recharges action points. Holy crap. That is very good. That's super good. So it must be an advanced Tesla coil situation. I think so. I mean, if you saw this Batman guy running at you in the middle of the night, sheesh, you'd be terrified. Put some shoes on, you dirt. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. Nice haircut. Sleep tight. Chat, how we doing? Rocket Boy, welcome. Poopy Dubilis over on Twitch has the full rundown of why naked mole rats are resistant to cancer. Their cells divide in less density, meaning less division overall. Less division overall is good because cells are the most vulnerable to radiation damage while they are dividing. They have complex DNA repair factors in their genes, and oddly enough, they have no natural killer cells. Even though they have no natural killer cells, their T cells have taken on the role of cancer fighter, and they do quite well at it. There may be environmental factors that also prevent/treat cancer, as all incidents of mole rats having cancer have been found in the laboratory. Interesting. Wait, literally, there was a Vault 69? It was a vault with 99 women and 1 man? Sheesh. Well. There was also a vault with 99 men and 1 woman. Oh, God. A real Bonnie Blue situation. Yikes. 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 Chad, I just want to remind you that now, not only... here at the facility, not only do I take you on little gaming adventures, but we also have other benefits. Of course. A horse, of course. You get videos early. Joining the Patreon. You get videos early. You get to help me with titles and thumbnails. You get to choose what thumbnails work the most, what titles work the most. But then also we have just launched a brand new podcast. Well, it is the relaunch of Office Hours, really. Blank all day. Welcome. A podcast with my young ward of the state, ADEF. And every episode will feature Patreon questions only. So if you join at patreon.com/Kyle Hill, you can get on the big screen. And let's give you a little bit. I showed you the intro. Let's give you a little bit more of a snippet. Let's get more of a snippet.
And we're back. Welcome to the inaugural Office Hours podcast, The Great Return. I am here, of course, with my young ward of the state, ADEF. ADEF, thank you so much for joining me here on your state-appointed.
I'm so excited to be here with my legal guardian.
Yeah, with your state-appointed researchship. We also have our own FCC here, fact checker Chompy.
That tiny little noise
off in the ether. So for this first podcast, we wanted to kick off a new format.
I already told you all this.
Tsunami watches and warnings on the west.
Wait. Let's get to a good question.
Yeah. I answer right now. The
treat
refuse to do things in a repeatable way. Keep seeing different headlines for that. Is that cats refuse to be tested? And this is what I like. There's actually a confounding variable in the science of cat, which is you can train a dog to lay still in an MRI. You can train a dog to do a puzzle or something like that. A corvid could be trained to do a puzzle. Cats refuse to do things in a repeatable way.
That's what I'm saying.
In like a repeatable, trainable way, so we don't have good data on cats, which either means they're smarter than we think or they're stupider than we think, and we don't know.
I have 2 cats, and I wish I were them often. Where like I go outside and like I'm having a bad day, and they literally are like dead asleep on the couch at 4 in the afternoon. I'm like, yeah,
Well, they sleep like 18 hours a day.
Yeah, I want that.
Yeah, me too.
Next question. If a truly altruistic... I can do this. I can read. If a truly altruistic genie could make exactly one scientific breakthrough happen by the end of the year, what would you choose? Fusion? Eradicate cancer? Warp drives? There's so many things I feel like we're capable of as a species, but I don't think most of us will live long enough to see them realize.
First...
Chat! Things to go check out. If you want to. What did we get to today? We had... Okay, the Fallout music is playing in my ear the entire time. One moment. One moment. Man, that is distracting. All right, chat. What did we learn? We came heavy. We came front loaded. That guy on the screen looks a lot like you. Who's to say? We came front loaded with a lot of science times. Oh my! Oh my! Came front loaded today with a lot of science times. We ended up at 50 science times today. Did we learn something today? What was the most interesting thing that we got into? I know we started out not controversial, but I tried to get at an accurate representation of the risk that the Radium girls experienced. And I know that was a little heavy to start out a stream, but anything that we should elaborate on more? Anything that you want to know about more? I think next stream is going to be probably something like Metal Gear Solid. Next episode's on the Chan. Hopefully it is going to be some combination of the most dangerous object ever created, Metal Gear, versus a nuclear weapons historian, and the next Half-Life history, about this story of the person who got the highest whole body dose of radiation in history. But yeah. What about you guys? Kyle, thoughts on gas station pills? Why do I keep hearing about these? What are these? I want to know the science behind Kyle's amazing hair. Two things. Paying a lot of money to have people take care of it, and genetics. My mom has very thick, fast-growing hair, and so do I. My brother does not, so I got that part of the genetics. Also, I do very specific things to make it look like this and be, wavy and stuff. Do you ever worry about things like gamma ray bursts? No, because they're so... Well, first of all, gamma ray bursts... Think of everything that has to align in space for a gamma ray burst to hit you. It's going to be in a 1 in X billion trillion chance or whatever, which means there's going to be no way to predict it. So why worry about that? Let me put it this way. A gamma burst is simultaneously so unlucky and so dangerous that it's either never going to happen or we're all going to die super quickly. So, and at this point, in 2025, I had a good run. I'm much more worried about things that we have control over and aren't doing things about. Like AI, synthetic pathogens, nuclear weapons. That's what we should be worrying about, because we can control those things if we decide to. Right now, we're not really deciding to. Did the Demon Core produce more radiation than Chernobyl? Again, Dave, you got to be more specific. In total, in terms of raw radioactivity released into the environment, Chernobyl produced much, 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 much more. Because an entire reactor exploded, not just 6.2 kilograms of material. But did anyone... Well, I'll put it a different way. 2 people were killed by the Demon Core. 28 people died of acute radiation syndrome at Chernobyl. But in terms of raw release of radioactivity, those are different questions, right? Because that's one of the ways that you environmentally, that's one of the ways you categorize the level of a nuclear disaster, with how much contamination was released to the environment. So you could talk about deaths, you can talk about contamination, and it depends on which you're talking about and in what context. You know what I mean? You could say in concentration it could be the demon core. No. No. So, okay. So when you say how much radiation was ooh, excuse me, good golly, Miss Molly. In terms of radiation produced, what do you mean? Do you mean actual number of fissions? Or do you mean effect to people? Do you mean fatalities? That's all different. Because in terms of raw number of fissions, you had a nuclear core melting down for days. I would be willing to bet that is many, many, many more fissions. And it was much, much more material. So that would be more radiation released from a source. Would be the Chernobyl reactor, for sure. Why the demon core seems worse is, even though it's a little, well, not worse than Chernobyl, but why the demon core is captivating as an accident is you're basically putting yourself next to an operating nuclear reactor and then getting flashed by criticality, the criticality of it. It's like being inside of a nuclear reactor for half a second or whatever it is, which is bad. But the next Half-Life history that we're going to talk about, neither Harry K. Doglian Jr. nor Louis Slotin got the size of the dose that the man we're going to talk about in the next video got. He got the highest one. Plus, RBMK reactor cores are obscenely large. I stood on top of one. I've stood atop reactor number 3. I've stood on top of the RBMK reactor at Chernobyl number 3. I have a photo. It's cool. We're all in white stuff and masks. Do I still have a photo of that somewhere? Probably. Beep. Let me see. I've been there. Well, I mean, you can. It's in the videos if you want to see it, but I think it's. It's probably in here, like this. If you do it this way and do this way, and then nope, and then do it this way, 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 and then do it this way. There you are. For what purpose? I was touring it. Oh, so you ever get that good radium toothpaste? No, just Colgate. Colgate Active Prevention System. When used together, 3 different products, 3 different incredible products, it can reduce bacterial buildup and the things that cause gingivitis and other diseases, cavities, by 15 times. And you should do that. But yeah, so this is, where am I? I am, can you see my cursor? Yeah, that's me right there. So here's some control rods in the back that are intensely radioactive. I don't know why, I guess they're just sitting there. But yeah, these are all of us who went on the Chernobyl expedition that I was on. We got specialized access. So we were there on behalf of the government, not on behalf, but we got approved by the government of Chernobyl. We went inside the reactor. So this is adjacent to the reactor that exploded, which is underneath the sarcophagus in the NSC, further away. That's pretty cool, huh? When was this? This was 2021. So we're not we are wearing masks because of COVID at this time, but we're also wearing masks. See the little respirators on the mask too. This is because there is still a lot Sensodyne or nothing. Get out. There's still radioactive contamination in this building. It's on everything, everywhere. It's on the dust. It's on the it's everywhere. But yeah, that was pretty cool when we did that, huh? You take a Geiger counter? Yeah, there's if you see this little beep boop pop 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 beep 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 beep. This is a camera, but then there's a enhance. Jarvis, enhance. Jarvis, take away 1 electron from every atom in Chat's body. This little device here is an EcoTest Geiger counter. Was it 3.6 Röntgen there? I am going to do, because I now realize that the only radiation unit and dose that anyone knows off the top of their head is now, because of the HBO series, 3.6 Röntgen. So I had the idea, I'm going to do a quick YouTube short about how much is 3.6 Röntgen. Is it not terrible? Is it not great? How much actually is it? What does it mean? Because as long as that's the only number and unit that people know off the top of their head, the person on the street knows, they should at least, or I should attempt to help them understand what that actually means. That's not you. I don't see your flowing hair. It's in a ponytail underneath a little hat. It's in a ponytail off a little hat. Do you have to scrub off in a chemical shower after touring a place like that? No. So all of these clothes come off. When you enter the exclusion zone, you change your pants and your shoes and your jacket. And then to go into the power plant, you take off that stuff and you put on all this white stuff. You put on different shoes, pants, jacket. I have a little pouch to hold stuff there, respirator, hat to hold my hair because I like a pretty lady, and then a hard hat. And then before you leave the plant, you give all this stuff back and they clean it. But which one of these is the Kevin that I brought along on my trip? Which one of these is the Kevin? Is it one of these weirdos standing off here? Is it the person taking the picture? Is it that shoe? You'll never know. You'll never know. Never. Never. Will you go there again when the war is over? Absolutely. So the charity that I work with, the Clean Futures Fund, has been going back to the exclusion zone to perform veterinary services for cats and dogs, for people's pets, also providing some supplies to frontline soldiers who come back to the cities that we work in. They've been doing it the entire time since the war started. I have talked to them and have been invited to go back on some of these missions, but I don't think it is safe enough for me to do so. And I will be more useful to the charity here, raising money in this sorts of way, than me going myself. Will I go back? Yes, I would love to go back. I can't. It's a very interesting, special place, and I'm excited to go back when I can, but it's not super safe right now. Well, yeah, chat. Oh man, I feel like I've been. My voice is tired from doing all those other, all those little other voices. What have I missed? Did I miss anything? Chompy, have I missed anything? Is there anything else to go over? I don't think so. A lot of you who have joined the gaming channel on both Twitch and YouTube, I'm telling you, if you're already in the Patreon, go check out the first episode of the new podcast and tell me what you think. It will be free for all of you that join forever. It's going to be free. Underground nuke. Okay. Totally agree. Underground nuke, okay. Definitely. 100%. For sure. Arya? Arya's fine. Oh, yeah. Yes, Russia used a nuclear weapon to seal off a gas leak. And someone recommended that I do an episode on something like that. I have a ever-expanding list of topics that we can get to. But it proceeds slow. The topics increases faster than my output can keep up with. You know what I mean? I'm not bored. I'm just tired. That sounds insane. It's not crazy to. I mean, they weren't like blowing up the entire gas leak itself. They were using the blast to like crush the pipe adjacent to it to seal it off. Imagine if his hair became radioactive and it just glowed majestically forever. Again, not really how things become radioactive. If I broke open a source of cesium-137 and I covered my body in it, yes, I might be twinkly and shiny, but I will also probably die. February 22 is when you were in Ukraine. That's when the video came out. That's when the videos came out, Eileen. But I was in Ukraine in before the war in November of 21. October, November of 21, I think. Have you done or will you do an episode on logistics of feasibility of nuclear reactors on the moon? Yeah, I was going to do a short on that. There's not much to say, Lord Dunsfold. Like, the U.S. wanting to put nuclear reactors on the moon, obviously they're trying to distract from some other newsworthy things in the American administration at the moment. But putting a nuclear reactor on the moon is a great idea. It's really the only idea that's going to work, really. If you want an outpost on the moon, if you want to have a scientific outpost on the moon or instruments that need a lot of electricity, really the only way to have consistent energy production that doesn't require a bunch of fuel to come back and forth, that doesn't require the sun to be at a certain point, there's no wind on the moon, it's going to be nuclear power. It's either going to be a small nuclear fission reactor or it's going to be an RTG. We already have RTGs. They're harder to build right now because Russia isn't giving us any plutonium, and we've kind of run out of our own plutonium. We have to make plutonium in our fission reactors out of U-238, which becomes plutonium-239 as a natural byproduct. But a nuclear reactor on the moon is really the only option for consistent energy production in space. So, yeah. Really tall solar panels? Well, the more stuff that you need is a larger payload, which takes longer to get there, which you will need someone to set up and clean. And everything is going to be harder or impossible compared to putting a large metal tube with hot rocks on the moon. And if no one's on the moon, or if there isn't like a full-time habitation on the moon and it's just powering scientific instruments or anything like that, the nuclear reactor itself doesn't have to be crazy huge. It doesn't need a bunch of shielding because there's nobody there to be shielded. So then the nuclear reactor gets smaller, gets less heavier, etc., etc. How would you protect it from stray meteors? You put it underground. and stuff like that. Anyway, chat. I think it's a great idea. Put a nuclear reactor. It's politics aside. It's really the only idea, and it is a cool idea. It's really the only feasible option to have consistent power in space. Chat. How do you cool such a reactor on the moon? Well, the same way that you cool a nuclear reactor right now, with water. And we use that heat dumped into water to turn the water into steam and to make electricity. And then you can just reject that heat into space. But you would build the reactor such that the lack of efficient heat transfer to the void wouldn't cause any sort of problems. You would make a smaller reactor or a less powerful reactor, etc., but you'd build it with the heat ejection problem in mind. Remember, in space, where no one can hear you ice cream, because there's no medium like air, there's no convection, there's no conduction of materials touching hot stuff, so you only get radiation. So it's only IR radiation going into space from the ISS, from a reactor, from whatever, and that is the least efficient way to transfer heat energy. So you would have to keep in mind the heat rejection problem from a large reactor if you can't get all of it into steam and recondensed and blah, 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 blah. The whole moon is a heat sink. Right. You are attached to the moon as well. So you could put it into the surrounding regolith if it was underground or something. I don't know. I don't know the... Sorry, chat. While I did say I feel like I know so much more about radiation recently, I don't know everything about the engineering of a nuclear reactor on the moon just yet. Can't we just use the helium-3 on the moon to do fission? Well, you need to do fusion. Well, you need to do fusion first. And I'm not bought. I'm not bought into it fully. I'm not sold. I'm not sold on current iterations of fusion technology. There's the why I'm not, and we'll why don't we close it out? But fusion technology has solved like the first two problems, which is getting a fusion reaction to happen and then getting more energy out of the reaction than you put in. The hardest problem isn't those. The hardest problem is going to be creating a machine that can withstand the incredible amount of radiation it's going to be inside of a fusion core. So an immense amount of neutrons produced, which is going to activate all of the material in and around the reactor, and that will have to be dealt with. It will create its own nuclear, even though fusion itself, the process doesn't create nuclear waste, it only creates helium. What the gas? It will create nuclear waste in that all of the material in and around the reactor will become activated by neutrons, and you will have to dispose and or deal with that every so often. And I've heard this problem, and I can't get into it now, but I've heard this problem described as the single greatest engineering problem of energy. Like, this is the hardest engineering problem that exists in energy technology. So I personally don't know or haven't seen a feasible way to solve that last problem. Chat, I feel like I'm getting to the point of the stream where I'm making mistakes and saying things that are wrong, so I think we'll call it there. Remember, if you want to go back and check out the other VODs, that stands for Video On Demand, did you know that? VODs in this series, checking out all of the most radioactive places in the Fallout series, please do so. This will eventually make it into a main video, probably when the next season of the Fallout TV show comes out. On the main channel, we have a new video about Mirror Life released just today. If you want to keep up to date with everything that we do, join the private Discord, talk with me any time of day about any old thing. Definitely not magic cards. Ugh, could you even imagine and get the recently relaunched Office Hours podcast. That's GG's. That's patreon.com/Kyle Hill. Chat, I don't know when I'm going to see you next time. Whether that's next main channel video, next World Cup winning Basilisk event, next live stream, next whatever. I hope until that time you learn something and then come back to me and tell me what you learned, because I want to learn it too. And be nice to each other, because this is all we got. I'll see you soon.